Power that bout up and go hard to port. Go straight ahead and hard to port power. It ahead full just moments ago. A fisherman from Deadliest catch was tragically lost in a horrifying accident. Captain Jake and his crew pulled up a record-breaking amount of crabs, stunning even the most experienced among them. The weather's gone to hell on us. If I get the string, we'll get our almost 60 pots rebaited reloaded. As they battled the pouring rain, their thoughts were on their families, driving them deeper into dangerous waters. What happens when the wild sea tests the bravery of these fishermen? Let's expose the real dangers of crab fishing and the shocking accident that terrified viewers on live TV. The record hauling expedition, even when the rain is pouring down, the crew stays focused on their work, driven by the thought of reuniting with their fam. Soon Captain Jake mentions that they've cast their nets farther northwest than ever before, hoping for a big catch, maybe even 200 to 300 crabs. He silently wishes for a successful trip. When they finally pull up their catch, the results are beyond belief. Jake is stunned. He says he's never seen anything like it in all his years at sea. He points out that bringing in this massive haul only took 8 hours, but as the crew begins to celebrate, the sonar emits a strange chilling beep, a signal they've never heard before. It grows louder, more insistent. Jake urgently called out to his crew, telling them to prepare for the worst. He emphasized how important it was to keep the anchor cable tight to prevent the winch from being ripped off the ship and lost in the sea. Jake was clearly upset, admitting that the other ships might be watching them and questioning their decision to try and secure the anchor in such dangerous conditions. Oh my God, never see that in my life. That's 8 hours. Although Captain Jake had lost anchors before, his biggest concern was always the safety of his crew. He promised to take responsibility for his mistakes and hoped his crew would do the same. He admitted he couldn't keep the cable tight while pulling it in and asked a crew member for help to figure out which way the cable was moving. The situation was tense as Jake carefully steered the ship through the storm, trying to free the stuck anchor without causing more panic. Even though they had just made a great catch, the crew now faced tough criticism for their mistake. In a frantic state, Jake continued to shout orders, especially warning one crew member not to stand in front of the winch as it could break loose and cause serious injury. But things weren't getting any easier. Jake seemed confused and worried, wondering why the winch wasn't working properly. The danger grew, and at one point a deckhand nearly fell overboard when the anchor cable almost snapped. Jake kept reminding everyone to stay away from the winch area. Thankfully, despite the harsh conditions, they managed to pull the anchor up safely. But this wasn't the worst part. As they prepared to head back to port, Jake noticed another ship coming dangerously close, risking a collision. This new threat put everyone on high alert. The situation escalated quickly, with the two ships nearly crashing into each other, causing panic among the crew. The captain of the other ship, the Wizard, knew his shouts wouldn't do much good, but he couldn't stop himself from yelling as he tried to manage the damage, unable to confront the other captain directly because they were out at sea. His main focus shifted to getting his ship back to port safely. It was a tough reminder to keep calm and avoid unnecessary confrontations. The close call left the Wizard's captain very upset, warning his crew that there would be serious consequences for anyone who didn't follow his orders. I can't stop you, idiot. Head power up, you. Captain Jake, on the other hand, quickly gave out orders to ensure the safety of his ship and crew, making sure all essential equipment was checked thoroughly. The stormy seas were a tough test, but how well the crew responded to Jake's commands would be key to getting through the dangers ahead. At the front of the boat, the captain gave the order to start the engines and head straight. Then he made a quick turn to the left and told the crew to speed up. Once these commands were followed, the captain noticed a strange vibration in the boat. He wasn't sure what they had hit, but he ended on a hopeful note, trying to stay positive. After the collision, the captain of the Wizard contacted the captain of the other ship. Using the intercom, he was clearly upset and blamed the other captain for reckless steering. He questioned the other captain's decisions and whether their engine was working properly. He urgently demanded to know why their ship had suddenly appeared in front of his, which was only moving at about 4.5 knots. The calm sea hinted at new troubles ahead, the strange mysteries of the Bering Sea's depths. The other captain explained that they had tried to reverse the boat, but the throttles didn't respond, leaving them puzzled about what went wrong. Hearing this, the Wizard's captain suggested the other captain check his vessel for damage and wished him good luck. He also mentioned that he would inspect his own ship. The conversation ended without any apologies. suggesting that they might have more to discuss when they reach the port. Still shaken by the close call, the captain of the Wizard felt relieved that there would be no more shouting for the moment. A crew member then stepped forward, possibly to talk about safety or to help calm everyone down. This crew member explained the purpose of the collision bulkhead, which is a compartment designed to fill with water in case of a crash like the one they just had. This feature is meant to keep the ship from sinking and could potentially save everyone on board. The captain, who might have started yelling again if the damage had been worse, calmed down after seeing that the ship wasn't as badly damaged as he had feared. He explained to the crew that their anchor had caught on something underwater. Guys, lucky, because if it would have been just a little bit different and we hit him right with the stem, we made it sliced right through the, which caused the ship to swerve and nearly crash into the other vessel. He emphasized how much worse it could have been if they had hit the other ship head-on, as that could have easily torn through it, though the other ship did suffer significant damage. The captain realized that there was no one on his crew to blame, and that was enough for him, but things were not entirely safe elsewhere. A deckhand on the Saga almost became a casualty due to the fierce winds and harsh conditions of the Bering Sea aboard the Saga. The freezing cold and the harsh nighttime weather made things even harder for the captains. Jake had to decide if chasing a potential catch was worth the risk to his crew in such dangerous conditions. Captain Jake shouted a warning to Jacob, the deckhand, telling him to stay alert because danger was close. Jacob, a bit shaken but not hurt, replied that the wave had hit hard, reminding everyone just how strong the sea could be. Suddenly a massive wave crashed onto the deck, drenching everyone in cold sea water and leaving the crew shivering. Captain Jake apologized, admitting he didn't see the wave coming. Jacob described how the water flooded the deck and almost knocked him over with a coiler, a machine used for winding ropes. He quickly ducked while managing his hook line, barely avoiding getting hurt. He felt lucky to escape what could have been a serious accident and believed it was a blessing. Jacob's close call left him nearly swept overboard, but he managed to stay on the ship. He knew this would be a story he'd tell for a long time. Captain Jake, still frustrated by the sudden wave, emphasized how important it was to always be on guard at sea. He wasn't sure they could keep fishing with the weather getting worse, and pointed out how dangerous the large fast waves were, hitting hard like a powerful punch. I mean, look at the waves, they're already just starting to blast. Now deciding it was too risky, he called off the fishing trip, joking that the intense waves were like Bruce Lee punches, sure that the crew couldn't take another hit like that. But the troubles weren't over yet. Over on the Summer Bay, the crew faced another challenge when a man fell overboard, turning their day upside down. Despite this, Captain Wild Bill, who had a strong and capable team, decided they wouldn't stop working. He announced they would continue fishing through the night, even with the strong currents and deep waters. He told his crew to make sure they were secured and to set their traps deeper by 3 fathoms. The crew faced the rough waves with determination, the high stakes of crab fishing as the weather got worse. Captain Wild Bill acknowledged the tough conditions but stayed optimistic. When they found a good fishing spot, the job was risky, and when they needed someone to take on the dangerous task of working on the rail, Spencer stepped up, ready to face whatever was coming next. Davis made sure everything was secure before sending Spencer to the rail to start pulling in the crab pot. Spencer struggled to grab the buy because of the strong currents, but he was determined to get the job done. He believed they would find a lot of crabs, and his optimism matched that of his captain. Both of them felt their determination would help them avoid any trouble. The crew's hard work paid off, and they cheered loudly when they made a big catch, excited about their success. But the celebration didn't last long. Not much later, one of the crew members had trouble with the equipment because of the strong currents, and another man accidentally fell overboard, instantly turning their joy into fear. Even with the dangerous conditions, the crew managed to rescue the man, and everyone was relieved to see he was okay. Over Captain Wild Bill felt those moments were some of the most intense in his life, grateful that no one was lost. The excitement didn't end there, but things took a turn. Another crew member twisted his ankle in the commotion, which could keep him from working for the rest of the season. The crew faced more challenges, especially since many of them were inexperienced. Losing a seasoned crew member like Nick was a big setback. A crew member contacted Captain Wild Bill to update him on their work and report Nick's injury. The team was worried about how they would manage the rest of the season under such tough conditions. Nick's injury became more painful, and the crew thought about Cutting off his boot to apply ice, they planned to keep an eye on him overnight. The decision to get medical help was still up in the air, but with limited first aid they were concerned about how much worse his condition could get by. The next day Nick felt a sharp pain in his ankle and quickly asked his teammates if they could take a break. He apologized for holding them up, but one of his colleagues immediately offered to bandage his ankle and suggested they get it checked out by a doctor in the morning, maybe even with an X-ray. Captain Bill was clearly concerned about Nick, calling him the heart of their team and emphasizing how important he was to their work at sea. Even though the accident was unfortunate, it made Nick realize just how much the captain valued him. This could even give him a chance to ask for a raise once he was back on his feet. "Hey, Bill, what happened? Back my ankle. Which foot? My left. Meanwhile, two captains found themselves in a disagreement, leading to a small collision between their boats while they were docked. Captain Harley of the Southern Wind acknowledged that the winds were calmer during the day, but insisted they hurry to retrieve their crab pots to avoid any delays. He carefully maneuvered his ship to stay clear of another boat called Summer Bay, which had agreed to move out of the way by midday. Harley emphasized the need to get his ship in position so they could start lifting the pots as quickly as possible, especially before the winds picked up again. But things took a turn when an unexpected incident at Port Sour put everyone on edge for the rest of the day. Captain Harley, clearly frustrated, ordered his crew to move the ship and get a piece of equipment properly aligned on the dock. He was unusually eager to start fishing, despite the bad weather possibly chasing a rare opportunity at sea. Quiet waters were about to be disrupted. The Summer Bay's close call. Nick, now working as the deck boss on the Summer Bay, admitted he wasn't used to such chaotic situations. He compared it to a refrigerator door suddenly falling off, just another unpredictable part of their life at sea. As the captains prepared to move their boats, neither realized how close they were to a dangerous collision. Captain Harley started giving urgent orders, worried about how close they were getting to other boats, while Bill, watching from his ship, wasn't confident in Harley's actions and feared a crash was coming. He even thought about using a crash bag, a large safety buffer, and made sure it was ready just in case. Bill had seen Harley's poor handling before, so he asked another crew member to take over an important task on the ship. At one point, Harley asked how far they were from another boat. His crew initially got it wrong, but quickly corrected themselves.